my passion for beer came from probably about 2013. It's when craft was still pretty new in Canada. I just finished university and working at a little restaurant close to where my parents live, and a local craft brewery used to come in on Fridays and have their team meetings there. It was the first time I'd just seen such a young creative team all discussing something that really felt quite of the times and just really interesting. That sparked an interest in beer for me, and from there interest in trying craft beer and tasting different beers. And then from there, the idea of becoming a brewer started to plant itself in my head, as I realized that I wanted a job that was sensory-based, fun, creative, where I'm working with my hands, was people-centered, and felt, fast-paced and like it had an interesting future. So more and more it started to solidify for me that, this was an awesome career path that I wanted to pursue. So I am our tank and cellar manager. I am 33 weeks pregnant. Yeah, so mat leave is just around the corner. Very much looking forward to this next chapter, but I know I'll miss my day-to-day next year so much. So I started 6 years ago. I was doing a bit of everything. So working in the cellar, I was helping with packaging, general cleaning, and more that we found that we needed some attention to detail put onto our fermenting beers and what was happening in cellar. So I started taking up more and more of that role and really enjoying it. It's a lot of plate spinning and looking at quite a few different things all at the same time. So I'm managing, 18 fermentations at any one time. So making sure that they are all microbiologically stable, that they are hitting the specs that they need to, but then most importantly that they taste incredible and are really delightful. So it's a lot of organization skills, I guess, and managing a lot going on at the same time and making sure that what gets to our packaging line and eventually to the customer is as impactful and as flavorful as possible. I get a lot of satisfaction in my job from finding out new processes or improving the way that we're doing something, especially when it's sensory based. So, finding a process that we can do that will impact that final flavor in final packaging. Something I've been focusing on a lot in the last couple of years has been the pH of beers and how that has sensory impact. Whether for big hoppy beers, tweaking pH to make them brighter and zestier and more impactful, to our imperial stouts, and what small pH tweaks can help make those beers more chocolatey or rounded. How to bring out those really positive flavors. So as a female in beer, my experience has been wholly positive, I would say. I realize that's not the experience for everyone, but I've been quite lucky, I think, along my journey. I felt very welcomed in beer, and especially being a woman, I was encouraged to get into beer, hearing from male brewers that we need more women in beer, that it would be a huge positive if I wanted to be a brewer. So I found that quite encouraging from the onset, and I was of course nervous knowing it's a male-centered industry, but I do find within production we've got, from the few breweries I've worked at, there is quite a special vibe in craft beer that's pretty human-centered and progress-focused. It's by nature a very innovative, progressive industry. So with that comes desire for change and social change. And I very much found that working at Cloudwater as well. So I recognize I've been lucky, but I would say my experience as a woman in beer has been wholly positive. So my experience at pubs, it's been very different in the UK compared to Canada, where I'm from. Pubs can tend to be male-centered spaces. I've always felt fairly comfortable in pubs. You get the occasional comment or surprise at women drinking pints of beer. where I wouldn't have that in Canada. So it's more tickled me here. I kind of found that a bit funny, but I know for some friends that they can find that quite, irritating to get questioned on drinking a pint of beer. I think it's just an exposure thing. I think this will change with time, but sometimes it can be slow moving to see that progress. So I wouldn't say I felt uncomfortable, but I've definitely noticed that, the pub can be a gendered space. So I do think attitudes are changing towards women in beer for the better. A lot of that has to do with representation. So I think we need more of this. So we need more visibility for women working in breweries, the amazing women throughout the industry who are doing kick-ass work. The more we can see these women, the better. I think there's always progress that can happen and that we need to work on. And it's not just for sexism as well. That includes homophobia, racism, ableism. So it's not just an issue around women. It's all very intertwined. So if craft beer is not inclusive to any group, then it's not inclusive to anyone, really. So it's not a women's issue, it's an everyone issue that we need to work on. My ideal beer moment is surrounded by lots of friends. Probably a Friday evening, winding down from a big week at work, but having lots of laughs. So I've missed that through the pandemic, and then obviously being pregnant now. More soda moments now, we'll say. But definitely surrounded by lots of friends. It's good fun.